Welcome to the episode 7 of PolicyCast, where we discuss all tax, finance, and key regulatory developments. Today, we have with us Prasenjit Sarkar, partner Grant Thornton Bharat, to talk about the proposed amendments to the SEBI Regulations 2015 relating to RPT, that is, related party transactions. The proposed amendments promote the objective of facilitating ease of doing business. So my first question today to you, Prasenjit, is what prompted SEBI to revisit the RPT framework under LODR?
Thanks, Navjot, for the question. SEBI recognized that while the RPT framework is essential to safeguard investor and ensure transparency, however, companies were facing certain practical complexities in the implementation. The amendments aim to achieve balance, specifically to preserve investor protection while providing operational clarity. The audit committee continues as the central gatekeeper, in my understanding, for RPTs. Now, with sharper and scale-based threshold, will also ensure material transactions are reviewed while routine ones are managed with minimal compliances, and those could be streamlined better.
One of the big changes relates to thresholds for material RPTs. What exactly has changed and how will investors benefit?
Interesting questions, Navjot. Earlier, uniform threshold applied to all the listed companies, regardless of their size. However, the revised framework introduces scale-based threshold, which are linked to consolidated turnover of the companies. This will ensure that larger companies have proportionately higher thresholds, while smaller companies will remain under closer scrutiny. For investors, this means greater focus on genuinity of the material transactions that can impact value. At the same time, companies gain clarity and relief from approvals on the routine dealings.
Prasenjit, could you explain what scale-based threshold practically mean? And do these changes in any way dilute investor protection?
Yeah, sure. So, scale-based threshold mean proportionality. For example, for the small companies, even a modest transaction could be significant, while for very large companies, only sizable transactions will qualify as material. Importantly, investor protections remain fully intact. The changes are structured to maintain strong oversight on significant RPTs and, I believe, simplifying compliances for smaller or routine ones. So, in totality, this will allow the governance to focus where it matters most, and they will not get diluted in the overall scheme of things.
Right. So, how do these reforms align with SEBI's ease of doing business push/focus, right? And when will they take effect?
So I think that has been the biggest priority of SEBI in recent days, if I observed well. The reforms, if you have watched out, are closely aligned with SEBI's broader effort to simplify or rationalize or modernize compliances. For instance, disclosures for smaller RPTs have been streamlined, while key information requirements will continue to be prescribed by SEBI through a circular. It means the amendments will come into effect once notified. In the meantime, companies should proactively review their RPT policies, recalibrate the thresholds, and brief their audit committees to ensure a readiness towards the new change.
So my last question for this podcast today is, stepping back, how do you see these amendments balancing investor confidence with ease of doing business?
Thanks, Navjot, for this question. I think this has been, again, as I mentioned, one of the priorities of the regulators to create balance. So, in my sense, the reforms adopt a very calibrated approach. It means the large and material RPTs will continue to undergo robust scrutiny. Okay, so thereby preserving investor confidence. At the same time, companies will gain relief from extensive requirements on immaterial or operational transactions. So this dual approach strengthens governance clarity while supporting ease of doing business in a practical manner. Because end of the day, what SEBI is looking for to ensure that there is no discontinuity of the business because of compliances, and at the same time, the governance is not compromised.
Thanks a lot, Prasenjit. Very interesting and insightful comments coming in from your end. And that's a wrap for today's episode. We looked at how the proposed RPT reforms ensure that large material RPTs remain subject to robust scrutiny, preserving investor confidence. We'll be back soon with more expert conversations on tax, finance, and regulatory developments. Until then, thank you for tuning in.